Oh wow, a white guy with facial hair on a car channel loves manual transmissions. What an original premise. Hold on, hear me out for a minute. I learned to drive in a 1986 Ford Taurus that my grandpa gave me. It had a two-tone paint job and pretty much everything in it broke. It even caught on fire at one point. It had a 5-speed manual and it was fun as hell. But there's a big problem. Manuals are going out of style. In 1992, about 25% of car buyers chose a manual transmission. 20 years go by, and in 2012, that number fell to just 6.8%. In 2018, just 3.5% of buyers drove off the lot with a manual. As a result, car makers started offering less cars with a manual option. In 2012, there were about 117 new cars you could buy with a stick shift. It's not a lot, but not bad. In 2018, that number fell to just 85 cars. Still not great, but it could be worse. And it did get worse. In just 1 year, the number of cars in the 2019 model year that you can get with a manual is just 57. That's a 33% drop. If the trend continues at this rate, manuals could be gone in 2 years. People are not happy about this. You can't go into a comment section of a video about a new car without seeing someone say, would have been better with a manual.
No stick. Would have been better with a manual.
No stick.
No stick.
No buy.
Bye. I'm gonna find you, Toyota. I'm gonna come into your house and murder your dog.
And you know what? I don't blame them. Take the new Supra, the highly anticipated follow-up to the legendary sports car. The Mark IV has a 6-speed and this new one doesn't. What the hell, Toyota? You want another example? The BMW 330i will not have a stick shift in the US this year. This is sacrilege. Or is it? There's a reason automakers are putting an end to the manual transmission. It kind of sucks. Enter the continuously variable transmission, or CVT. They aren't like other transmissions. They don't really have gears. It's more of a belt drive with 2 pulleys. It's kind of complicated and I'm not that smart, but the main advantages of a CVT are super smooth acceleration and improved fuel economy over any type of transmission. I mean, the Williams F1 team was testing a CVT back in 1993, and that's when they were good. Sorry, that was low. So what would happen if an automaker actually built a sweet car with a manual transmission today, like people have been begging for? How about a 4-door sedan with a big V8, comfy seats, undercover sleeper looks, and a 6-speed? Well, that did happen. The Chevrolet SS debuted in the 2014 model year. They took a Holden Commodore from Australia, put some Chevy badges on it, tuned the suspension a little, and pretty much called it good. Critics freaking loved this thing, comparing it to other sports sedans legends like the E39 M5, a car that has been haunting my dreams for months. I want one bad. Anyway, the SS was the stuff enthusiasts had been clamoring for. It had magnetic ride suspension, 415 horsepower, a 6-speed manual, and my favorite, cooled seats. The SS was set to be an instant classic. There's only one problem. Nobody bought one. Over the SS's 4-year production, just 12,860 of them were sold. Just for comparison, Chevy sold nearly 10 times as many Corvettes in the same period of time, while Honda sold 1.4 million Civics, and Ford sold over 3 million F-150s. Long story short, the SS was not a hit. Just for fun, I went on CarMax to find an SS, and to my surprise, there were 3 of them for sale, but none of them had the 6-speed. I cried for half an hour. It doesn't make financial sense for them to build these cars if no one is gonna buy them. That's just business. So, why aren't people buying manuals in the US? What makes this country different from the rest of the world? Besides automatics being smoother, there has to be a good reason, right? There are actually 2. The first is easy, convenience. A lot of you probably daily a manual car, so you know driving stick in heavy traffic is kind of a pain. But if you take your car out on the weekends and hit the canyons, then the crappiness of having to deal with that is just part of the game. But the average person just isn't like that. They'd rather get in their car and listen to Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul podcast and drop me off at baseball practice. The second reason is safety. Now, I used to think that driving stick was the safest method because it limits distractions. It's hard to text and drive if you have to focus on your shifts. I personally believe that driving manual makes you a more focused driver, but it turns out that's not exactly true. A health science study at Jönköping University in Sweden found that older drivers have better reaction times and make less mistakes in cars with automatics. When you combine that with the fact that the age group who buys the most new cars in the US, 35 to 54-year-olds, it's not hard to see why people aren't buying new manuals. Conversely, people aged 16 to 34 buy about half as many new cars as the older group, if they buy a car at all. Companies are gonna listen to who gives them money. So new automatics are pretty much better in every way. They're more efficient, safer for old people, and shift super fast. But just because it's better doesn't mean the car is better. There's something about driving stick that makes you feel more connected to the car than an automatic ever could. And I'm not saying this to talk down on auto drivers. If you have fun with your auto, that is totally valid. I've had a lot of fun in automatic cars.
You're only saying that because you drive it.
No, that f***ing Lamborghini was really fun. But I think a good analogy for driving a manual is surfing. I grew up about half an hour from the beach, but never learned how to surf. But a few years ago, I actually got a lesson and caught a few waves. And that's when I got it. I understood why my friends would wake up at 4:30 in the morning to catch the swell. You're both at the mercy of the ocean and totally connected. It's a truly great feeling. That's what driving stick feels like. If you've never learned, I definitely suggest you get a friend or relative to teach you, because it's the best. So is the manual gonna die? Maybe in new cars. Also, electric is the future, and those cars don't need transmissions, so But as long as gear shifters are around, I'm sure there'll be someone there to shift them. If this video gets 25,000 likes in 24 hours, I will chug a gallon of milk in an hour on a live stream. They say it's impossible, but I don't believe them, whoever they are. My nickname in youth baseball was the milkman, okay? I can do it. Thanks for watching Wheelhouse. Follow me on Instagram at Nolan J. Sykes. Consider subscribing to Donut right here. Watch last week's episode of Wheelhouse right here, and check out this episode of Prestado. You know you have that one friend that says he can drive stick. Share this video with people who need to learn to drive stick. Be nice, I'll see you next time.